Francesco, lovely to have you on the show. I've been following you for a couple of years already, and for me, you're always the guy who seems to have the best tool at every given spot. Like your life seems to be filled with things that make you faster, better, more productive, and so on. It makes you it keeps you productive, right? As you would say. And now, my first question for you would be, if every productivity app would vanish from the face of Earth tomorrow,
Mhm.
how would you manage your life starting tomorrow?
I would go back to just a simple notebook, I think. I actually don't use too many tools. So, like, surprisingly, people get the idea that because I know hundreds and I test, like, hundreds of tools, that they expect me to use all of these tools or even just have a lot of tools. And maybe when I was a bit younger, I did have maybe like 10 tools I was using, but now I try to keep to the minimum ones. So I reckon I'll be all right. I reckon if there was a desert island situation, I could just bring a good quality notebook and be all right.
Because for me, the answer is so similar, honestly.
Yeah.
I went down this rabbit hole, trying, absolutely everything, absolutely everything. And what I noticed, it actually makes me less happy than if I just
Mhm.
have one or two things and I have not so many abstractions in life.
Yeah.
Actually, I recently had a recording session with Carl Pullein,
Hmm.
and he introduced me to this time sector system.
Oh,
And
right.
really shout out to him here. Like since then I'm using this, and it really changed the way I look at it. Before I had fancy task manager. At some point I even vibe coded my own one to really get exactly what I need with
Yeah.
20 custom fields and what have you, right?
Yeah.
And what I notice is just it gives you like a level of anxiety almost, to
Mm.
phrase it a bit drastically, where you have so many fields, so many things you got to do, and really going back to the basics and just not having all that noise in life was actually quite wonderful, to be frank.
Good. Yeah, no, that's the way to
Yeah.
go. Like,
Right.
people expect me to recommend apps all the time, but I'm I'm not the most productive person overall, I don't think. Oh, well, at least I'm learning, so it's good.
Yeah. I guess you could almost say, this endless search of finding the right tool is really the biggest procrastination I had in my life. And
Yeah.
I kind of hear from the way you speak, you also you also went down this
Yes.
rabbit hole.
I have the most unproductive job in the world, helping people find productivity tools. It's not good.
How did you end up there, actually? What's the story?
Just as a kid, I was interested in software. My
Uh-huh.
teachers like always had, the software on the screen for, registering us when we went into class. And every year
Uh-huh.
it would obviously update and change. And I was just fascinated by the small changes that happened every year. And I thought maybe this is a bit weird. And then I started discovering the App Store and really being obsessed with all the details of each app. So, yeah. And then I just thought, why not spend 12 years categorizing every productivity tool? It seems like a good endeavor.
Well, you could say it kind of ended up nicely for you, I would
Yeah.
say. So it
Looking back,
wasn't a
it makes sense.
right. But yeah, honestly, if you probably kind of travel back in time 10 years and you say, okay, I'm going to be a productivity YouTuber or helping people find productivity tools, people must have said, wait, you're doing what?
Yeah. I mean, I'm a
Right?
loser. Definitely a loser.
No, that's what I thought now, but in retrospect, kind of, there's really a big market, and even for myself,
Mm,
I don't know, unless you kind of go down this rabbit hole, you think, okay, wait, what are they doing? But
yeah.
then you go down the rabbit hole and you understand, oh wow, yeah, it does make sense now.
Yeah.
Actually, it
Yeah,
does.
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the most counterintuitive kind of lesson about productivity you've learned just going through all of the journeys? I mean, you've been analyzing apps, you've built your own app also, right?
Mhm.
And now you're kind of here. Like, what's the most counterintuitive lesson you've gone through?
Um, it's actually, I'd probably say it's to do with the development of apps. So when I probably the first half of my career of reviewing productivity apps, I would be quite brutal on each of the applications that were made, sort of pointing fingers on design, quality of build, and things like that. But then once I worked with the developer quite closely on the app that we released, I realized very fast that an app is actually quite a difficult thing to build.
Mhm.
Obviously, there's vibe coding now and these Replit and Lovable that can make these small versions of apps, which I think is going to be quite a long way away from fully doing.
Mhm. Mhm.
But at the same time, I definitely built some empathy for the things that you need to build a good quality productivity app.
Mhm.
And that has definitely helped over the years my reviews. So I think that sort of human element of it has been the most beneficial to my productivity, or at least the self awareness of the review process.
Mhm.
Um, I think that answers the question.
And
Like,
how is the process going from reviewing it to building your own? Like, did it come from a dissatisfaction with what's existing in the market? From, well, the way I read it, like there was just too much complexity in all of these systems,
yes.
and you wanted just something new and simple. That's my interpretation.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's like, I think I've always wanted to build a productivity suite of apps, like ever
Uh-huh.
since I started doing this. I think that was been the long term goal. Um, but I remember texting somebody and just being like, these to do list apps are so overwhelming with the amount of things that you can add to them. So I actually was thinking of a concept. So I created like a methodology called the Bento methodology.
Uh-huh.
And then basically the app spawned out of that. I was like,
Uh-huh.
what if you could limit a to-do list app to just 3 apps and that's your limit?
Uh-huh.
Um, but I think the problem with the app that we launched was the first version was so heavy on the methodology. And then the second big problem was the fact that we were just building the app for like these very unique productivity nerds that
Uh-huh.
like, and it was over complex, over methodologized. But we quickly realized we got so many emails from people saying, this app has changed my ADHD. This
Uh-huh.
app is really giving me structure with my ADHD. And we
Uh-huh.
just kept getting these emails and we were like,
Uh-huh.
there's something here. This methodology has something here. So we're going to relaunch it in the ADHD, focusing on trying to address ADHD. Um, but it is a crazy like thing that has now led to that. It didn't
Uh-huh.
originally, I guess. No intention.
Can you like for the people who maybe don't know the methodology yet, can you quickly like give us an overview how it actually works?
Yeah, sure. So it's quite simple. The idea came from the idea of a Japanese bento box. And when you've got a bento box, and you say you go to work, you tend to pack it in advance into these compartments. So, very simply, you can have 3 compartments with bento: large, medium, and small. And the large task is designed around a high intensity activity. Think of like write report. There's something
Uh-huh.
like 90 minutes long. It's going to be quite intense, require
Uh-huh.
a lot of brain focus. And then the medium task is something you might do routinely. It could be update your social medias if you post on social media, or write newsletter, something that's maybe 45 to 60 minutes long. And then you've got a small task, which it could be anything from clear your inbox all the way to do a yoga session, 15 minutes, not too intense,
Uh-huh.
maybe even something just habit based. So the idea was like, okay, if somebody can pack their box with 3 of these things to do and they can go into the world and do it, then it's going to be a great way for them to provide them with structure. We actually ended up evolving the methodology out a bit further, to sort of cater for 3, 5, and 7 tasks. And it seems to be a great system for people to give them that focus.
I feel like, especially for people who have a little bit less tasks in their lives, it can really
Mm,
be a super powerful way, to kind of, yeah, here's the box and you pack it. And it's like, it makes sense, for people who might not have gone that rabbit hole down so much, even. But then, yeah, also for people who really have gone down the rabbit hole and also kind of figured out,
yeah.
yeah, it's too much.
Yeah, exactly.
And
We're
yeah.
going to reshape it again towards ADHD as well as a
Mhm.
course. So it should be good. Yeah.
And what's your setup? Like, you have a team of developers, or is it you with a couple of friends? Like, what's the setup in the background? I always wondered, actually.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, we were like a team of 4 or 5 people.
Mhm.
But basically, I sort of realized quite quickly that I wanted to do the app business more than when I got a taste of it, I was like, oh, this is really, really nice.
Mhm.
So we basically just leaned down and I brought on a co-founder. So it's just me and the co-founder, and that's it. And we
Mhm.
basically just, he builds the products and I'll be the marketing slash content guy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Cool. And how was kind of the launch journey for you? You know, when okay, you have the app and well, now the real work is just starting, right? Was it rather easy with your reach to kind of onboard people, or was it still not as trivial as people might think?
I think we're not we're about a month away from relaunching Bento. The first version of Bento was quite tricky because
Mhm.
we weren't in the right situation. We made the app quite difficult to use. We didn't make it fun to come back to, and we didn't make it for the right people. But with this version, I think it will be a lot easier because we know who
Mhm.
we're targeting, and we can
Mhm.
make it. We've made it really engaging and very much focused towards that. So
Sounds like another app I could try.
yeah, that's the problem, isn't it?
One more.
Yeah,
It's funny because I went back now just to a simple Notion database with like three fields, literally the time sector, the project, and the task title. There's
right.
nothing else there.
Nice.
And that's yeah, for me it seems to do the trick. Because before I kind of vibe coded my own app,
Yes.
just for myself. Like I kind of wanted to build a thing where I can speak to it and it's going to kind of perform actions for me. At
Yes.
first, it sounds super cool, but when you actually use it, you realize, wow, well, I don't really need that, and no one does, honestly. And that
Yeah.
was also the harsh feedback from my friends, quite
Yeah.
frankly. And well, thank God I listened, but still, I learned a ton of it. But
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
yeah, you just keep going full circles back to a simple rule, I guess. And that's kind of what I would ask you here. Like, what does it mean for you, this rules before tools? When you really remove all these abstractions of tools, what do you mean by that?
Yeah, I think it's a good concept because it rhymes. Always trust rhyming concepts, but it's like that. Okay, the foundations need to be so strong with your productivity.
Mhm.
Like, I won't add another app to my system if I don't have a good foundation with something,
Mhm.
um, or I won't even like change an app unless I realize like is it a foundational problem for me? So I
Mhm.
think like over the last like sort of 14 years, I've used Todoist for 12 of those years. I had like a
Mhm.
2-year stint on Sunsama. But the reason why is because I knew foundationally that's how I work best.
Mhm.
And I think that was just so simple to understand. Okay, here's my productivity principles. Um, combo of GTD, combo of sort of bit of the bento methodology,
Mhm.
and just things that are just all about sort of, I guess, organizing your tasks a bit more effectively. And it just helped me so much to build. All right, I've got a layer now. I can add an app on top, and that was Todoist. And that's the if you find a good foundation, you won't switch because it's like you know very very important to have that.
Yeah, Carl Pullen, who I interviewed a few weeks ago, he has pretty much the same setup. Like he also went
Mm.
kind of full circles, and he literally comes back to Todoist and I think Evernote, if I'm not mistaken,
Yeah,
something like
yeah.
that. And he's like, yeah, look, there's a billion of other tools, but this does the job 80% of the times, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to waste the 20% it doesn't on kind of with the 80% of my time.
Oh, yeah.
And it sounds very similar what you're describing.
Yeah,
Uh,
I even had, like, years where I was like I I definitely got, like, into the Notion thing very early on, and the problem was I was like I was forcing myself to use it because I had become one of its biggest advocates, and then I was
mhm,
like, "Why am I forcing myself to use it even though I've introduced it to all these people? It's better for them, but not for me." And I
mhm.
think people can fall into that trap, especially with social media, um, because of people like me and social media that can give you that perspective that you need another app or you need the tool that they're using, but it's not
Mhm.
necessarily the right thing.
And I guess it kind of goes nicely, this question with Bento, which you're relaunching now. But now, if you would be redesigning a productivity app from scratch today, I give you the task. Hey, I need you need to build this new app for me, what would like be the one feature you would 100% add no matter what?
Um, I think every app in the future will have a context capture of some kind
Uh-huh.
using AI. Um, because I think like I think the future is with productivity a voice communication system
Uh-huh.
that does AI based errands for you. Like I've talked about that for probably 5 or 6 years now. Um, because it's all about, I think it's going to be all about a bit like Iron Man, how you command the system to do what you need it to do. So I think every app that doesn't have like Todoist should have, I think they do, or at least released it, a way to be able to adjust, talk into it, and it be able to
Uh-huh.
start organizing the tasks into the projects,
Uh-huh.
organizing smaller tasks. So, for example, it just should automatically do smaller things to you. Like in the future, if I go cancel my Disney Plus, it should be able to go into Disney Plus and cancel it for me.
Uh-huh.
Um, I think like those sort of like small errands will be done for us, and then just the ability to have different context capture points. So if you've got your messages app and you've got, I don't know, an email, it should be able to work out what is important of that and be able to distill that for you.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, I think context capture right now is very important for every app in productivity.
You know, I tried to kind of build this for myself using N8N. Basically, I
Right.
have like my own Telegram bot,
Yeah.
which I could text it or send a voice message. It's gonna, well, if it's a voice message, it's gonna transcribe it with I think it's Whisper or whatever it's in the background with from OpenAI,
Oh
and
yeah.
then it goes like into my AI agent. And in N8N, I can add anything. So I connected my Notion, my calendar, my this, my that. So for
Yeah.
me, this is like my mode of operation. I'm out of the house. I have my phone. I text Jarvis. It's literally called Jarvis from
Oh
Iron Man,
God.
which is why it's funny that you just mentioned that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's quite wonderful. You know,
Yeah. Oh
it's
yeah.
no rocket science. I think I connected my Google Calendar, Gmail, Notion, and a calculator MCP, just that I
Right.
can do
Okay.
some math. You know, and
Yeah.
this covers 100% of what I'm doing, honestly. And I feel like
Right.
there's going to be a smart guy who's going to build this into a super nice and sexy looking app,
Yeah.
and he's going to do all right. I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure.
I think the problem with it now is that it's like it does feel a bit like it does remind me a lot of like Notion in 2017, 18, when the databases first came out. It was like, it's going to take a while, but we're going to have to manually do this and create this
Uh,
setup. But I think it's probably the reason why we will use Spotify above like downloading MP3s.
uh,
It's a much easier experience out of the box than it is doing it. So I think like Todoist will be the chassis and ChatGPT will be the engine of these apps. Like productivity tools will become chassis designers, and engines will be the AI software.
Yeah, and I mean, OpenAI is already doing it. You know, you can add your
Yeah.
Notion, you can add your Gmail, your calendar, anything, and it's working more or less okay. Not great yet, but they
Mm,
will get there, honestly. And this is exactly what I also kind of anticipate that OpenAI will really become the layer of communication for whatever you do, and it will just connect to whatever else you're using.
mm,
And yeah, just even people who are not kind of in this space. You know, I already see this with friends, family who are really not so tech savvy. They already
mm.
have this set up, you know, and it's really already
Yeah.
working for them quite lovely.
Yeah.
So yeah, I fully agree.
Yeah.
That is the
I th-
direction.
I think just on that point, COVID did speed everything up. Like I think if we didn't have COVID and everyone didn't work from home
Uh,
and people learned how to use Zoom, I don't think we would have had this level of adoption in AI.
uh,
So actually, it's been good, but also like annoying because you have to almost be at the forefront of this sort of stuff these days.
uh.
Whereas like 10 years ago, you could just you'd still be a year ahead.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder, you've reviewed so many things, you've seen so many things. What's the app that really lets you down? You know, you check out the app, it looks absolutely amazing. Then you log in and it looks like a fucking shitbox, you know? Like, I'm sure you had this experience. Come on. What can you say the
Whoa.
name or is this not good?
There's an app. a to-do list app called Seagull, and
Hmm.
if you add a task to it, and you complete it, it barks like a seagull. It let me down. I, I'm joking. I don't.
But that
I
that app
can't
really
really.
exists.
I can't really think. That is real, by the way.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Someone's thought about it. No, I don't. The thing is, like I said before, like I, as soon as we started developing apps, I certainly got an idea for the difficulties it took to build an app. So, like, I feel a lot more empathetic with developers these days. Like, I
Mhm,
try to actually do less negative reviews because I worry about it coming back to the developer. Like, I reviewed an app called Morgan um, a couple of years back, and my first impression of it wasn't that great. And I think I did a video on it and been like, this is all right. But then the
mhm,
developers just put their foot down, and a year later, the app was actually really decent.
mhm,
So things can change around really, really fast.
mhm.
So at the same time, I can bash somebody, they can come back stronger.
Yeah, and if they want now, you also have an attack vector with your own app. So I guess you got to be careful what you say about their apps because it might come around.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Maybe,
I'm
yeah.
navigating that.
What is what is one trend right now in this kind of productivity tech kind of world that really excites you and one that really scares you?
That's a good question. I think it's our own perspectives on uh, the amount of workload that we have. So, like, in the next sort of 3 or 4 years, 40 to 50% of the things that we do now will be done by a machine. I don't
Mhm,
think it will be like 100% of the things. But if you were to take that concept and you said, okay, 50% of it is being done for you, go and have a relax, right?
mhm,
Is probably not going to happen.
mhm,
It's almost like the workload is going to become dramatically higher for the average
mhm,
person, and that sort of breeds some problems. So, for example, break times will probably change drastically because at on your break you'll probably do something in the same vein as a video editor would render footage for their next video. You'll put something into an AI employee to go and do something for you. So you'll never really be stopping work because everything will be working for you in the background.
mhm,
So I think people will take that burden on a lot, and mindfulness will become a lot more important. Um, I don't know whether we'll move to 4 days a week because of that. I don't know. But I just have a feeling that it's going to become even more important to take mental breaks
mhm.
because things are going to get the expectation on most employees will be dramatically higher.
I really wonder what will happen here because if you think about it, if you extrapolate this kind of growth that we now had, like it was insane, right? You
Yeah.
cannot even imagine what will be in 10 years and not even 5 years, honestly. Like at this point, I'm not confident saying, okay, in 5 years the world's gonna look like this. I just couldn't,
Yes.
because I kind of my main company is also in medical AI, and
Right.
you really see how just fast everything is going and growing and so on. And kind of as someone who really spent the last 2 or 3 years fully working on that, I'm pretty sure we'll kind of move away heavily from what we're doing right now. And we
Mm.
need to find something else, really, because
Yes. Yeah.
right now I already see it in my own company, before where you needed 10 employees or I don't know, 15 developers, you can do it with two. And
Mm.
that's not going to get better for the human perspective, right? So it's gonna accelerate even more. And I don't know, like the more I think about it, the more I kind of end up we need a system that it really catches these people, because
Yeah.
yeah, maybe on the medium term, I'm sure you're right. We will delegate to the machine. The machine will do it. But I can envision a time not so far from now, like you and I,
Mm.
we will live in this. I'm pretty sure, where yeah, it will. it will not need us anymore in the loop so
Mm.
much, not no, none of us, but for 70, 80% of the people, I'm pretty sure that's going to be the case, honestly. And this
Mm.
is probably the biggest shift in humanity we ever will need to overcome, and it's not such an
Yeah.
easy thing to navigate because the world is already a bit fragile, it's already a bit hectic, I would say, well, it didn't get better the last 5 to 10 years, if you kind
Yeah.
of look at history. And I just feel like this will be such a shakeup.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Like it's a good thing because like I think a lot of like dead wood will be removed, but also it will change entire realms. Like, will we read articles in the future? Will we bother doing certain things that we normally do? But yeah, I think that's probably where like the arts and creative industries might thrive even more,
uh,
hopefully.
uh,
But yeah, like let's see what happens. Chaos.
Actually, when I was speaking about this, I just had a thought. Like, did you ever think about this? That, let's say in, I don't know, 10 years, we will not need kind of this human computer interface anymore. Like, I don't
Mm,
know, it will be in your glasses, it will be in your brain. I mean, who knows, right? At
yeah.
this point, I don't want to make any predictions, but I'm pretty sure it will be different.
Yeah.
How do you kind of navigate this? Because I mean, this is not something that's going to touch you in a year or two. Obviously, not probably not even in 5 years, but
Mm.
maybe in 10 years, you might need to revisit this whole reviewing app interfaces, and
Yeah.
replace it
Oh, I
with
know it.
something
Yeah.
else.
Yeah, I know it. I think I know that it's long term not going to be a good thing
Uh-huh,
because the idea of productivity apps, in my opinion, the best productivity apps are the ones that you don't see
uh-huh,
because you're not interacting with them. And when a system can do that for you, there's
uh-huh,
no value in productivity apps, is there? Um, so yeah, I think it's definitely got a 5 to 7 year span on it. And then
uh-huh.
after that, I think I love carrot cakes, right? So I've got like a plan B. So I'm going to go and like review carrot cakes in local coffee shops and just get really fat. And that's my mode because AI can't beat that, right?
I
So
would watch that. I would watch that. Not gonna lie. I
there we
I
go.
follow. I would because I even have one YouTube guy. He's like reviewing coffee all around the world.
Yeah,
James something, and he's the
right.
most lovely guy in the world. Like I mean, I don't know in person, but he looks like the most lovely guy in the world. And this is fun. And honestly, this sounds. I mean, probably you were saying it a bit joking, but kind of this shift of this hard productivity is kind of
Yeah,
symbolic also in your journey. You will kind of need to find the creativity in the arts and in this and that, and
yeah,
probably it's going to be better for us as humanity overall, I would say.
yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah. I haven't told my
Right.
wife this yet, so I'm sure she'll be like, "What?"
I'll make sure to send her the link. Well, I don't know
Yeah,
her, but we'll find a way to communicate. Don't worry. Cool. So
brilliant.
look, we're almost at the end here. Now, after reviewing all of these apps and going through this whole journey, like what's one mindset shift about productivity you'd like to kind of leave with the audience here?
Um, that's a good question. Um, Probably that tools will only take you so far. Um, like we all know that analogy about like Roger Federer. Um, he's got a regular tennis. Well, he's got a tennis racket, very expensive one. But if you gave him the regular one, he'd still do a fantastic job. So it's all about you as well. Um, Obviously, AI is going to affect that, but don't go too jumping around tools.
Uh,
Um, Keep an eye on the AI market, but don't make it rule your life.
mhm. Well, as a Swiss, I fully approve the Roger Federer analogy. So I think
I
there's
knew
no
you'd
better
like it.
way. I think there's no better way to end this. So, Francesco, thank you for taking the time. Truly
Thank you
appreciate
for
it.
having
And
me.
yeah, it's been lovely. Cheers.
Thank you.
Thank you.